Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Denmark once again, and we're going to stick to Copenhagen and revisit a brewery who you've seen me review a good number of beers from now. I must have reviewed about 12, 13 beers from this brewery at this point in time, and they've become a little bit more readily available over here in Sweden, which is always great. So for this review then, we are going to go to Copenhagen and we're having a look at another beer from Gamma Brewing Company, who are one of the really well respected New England hazy IPA producers at the moment, from Ölkollektivet in Görlöse to the northwest of the city. But this particular beer is called the Big Doink, and it's a New England double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. So this beer was one that came through the local and Småskaligt assortment on the 1st of April 2020. We've been getting a good few beers from Gamma, like I said. There was the Freak Wave, the Chelate, and was there one before that actually? But I reviewed a few of the Gamma Brewing beers over the last little while because I'd been over in Copenhagen, of course, and then we've been getting some more beers from them here through Systembolaget as well. But a very, very good brewery, these guys, in my opinion. Along with Dry and Bitter, these guys are doing some of the best New England hazy IPAs that you're going to find in Denmark at the moment. And Copenhagen, as we know, is a very, very good beer city. So if you're wanting to visit Europe and finding good beer cities, then I really, really would recommend Copenhagen. You've got War Pigs, you've got Gamma, Dry and Bitter, you've now got Slow Burn as well, who are opening up stuff, and of course you've got Toll and Mikkeller, who have various different kind of operations there as well. So Copenhagen really is a kind of must visit when it comes to craft beer. You've got Flying Couch as well, who also do some very, very nice beers. So yeah, Gamma Brewing are definitely one of the Danish breweries that you need to check out, and I'm looking forward to trying another beer from these guys. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Gamma Brewing Company before. No doubt there will be some more at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, which is fairly regularly because I do live so close to Denmark. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Gamma Brewing Company then, on to my brewery notes. So Gamma Brewing Company was founded back in 2015 by 4 friends in Copenhagen who were bartenders in the various beer bars around the city, and basically they used to just sit and talk about beer, but then they ended up talking about how cool it would be to have their own brewery, and little did they know that it was closer to happening than they thought. So in the early days they took in another co-owner, and so the team at the company are Jakob, Anders, Jesper, Koy and Nick. And they all had a little bit of home brewing experience, and 2 of them had also worked for Ølsnedkeren in Copenhagen, which had purchased the former Stronzo brewery in Görlöse, which was what then went to become Ölkollektivet. So apparently they were invited to join Ölkollektivet, and they got a good deal on a 20 hectolitre tank, and they started the brewery without any experience of having run a business themselves, which is pretty impressive, and you know, boy did it go well for them. But it went very well. They've expanded 2 or 3 times now, and they're producing somewhere in the region of 500 hectolitres of beer per year, and they export to England, to Scotland. Their beers go down to Germany, Netherlands and also Sweden these days as well, and they're constantly building their export market. But one of the co-owners in the brewery is also a co-owner of the May og Ølsnedkeren bar in Aarhus as well, over on Øland, the mainland part of Denmark, if you can call it that. But Ölkollektivet, the brewery that these guys brew in to the northwest of Copenhagen in Görlöse, it is home to Ølsnedkeren. Obviously, Gamma Brewing and Dry and Bitter. Ølsnedkeren also brewed the Bad Seed beers under contract for a while, but they now have their own facility up near Aalborg. You've seen me review one of their beers quite recently, lovely black IPA. Ghost Brewing and Rooster also used to brew their beers at this facility as well, but they have since moved on. But Gamma Brewing, like I say, are one of the highly regarded Danish you know, hazy New England IPA type breweries. They do other styles as well, but mainly they're known for their IPAs, to be honest. As of April 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, according to Untappd, they've produced they've produced around 80 different kinds of beer, which is pretty impressive. And when it comes to this brewery, you will get maybe two, sometimes three different beers released every month. The best way to find out what Gamma have got being released is either to follow their own social media or to keep an eye on Kiosk in Copenhagen. That's where I always used to get the Gamma beers from, and I think the ones that we're getting here in Sweden are ones that have been released like a few months back. I think they're sort of rebrewing batches to send over here to Sweden, of course. But not that I'm complaining, all of the Gamma beers tend to be pretty damn good actually. So yeah, it's always good to review a beer from this brewery. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Gamma Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's get on and have a little taste of this particular beer then. Just to give you the details on the beer before we open it up. So this one, as I mentioned to you earlier, is an 8% New England double IPA. It's hopped with Cashmere, Mosaic and Columbus. So Cashmere, as we know, is a really interesting hop, gives you a lot of lemon lime and a little bit of melon as well. It is an American hop, that one, and it's starting to get a little bit of popularity over here in Europe. You've also got the Mosaic, which we know as the kind of well, I suppose it's one of the newer hops. I think it was 2015 or so that it appeared, but it gives you those lovely kind of tangerine orangey notes as well as quite a floral quality. And then Columbus is the kind of classic bittering hop, if you like. It's very well known for its kind of spicy floral aromatic qualities. But the malt base in this one is Pilsner, Carapils and then oats, and it's got a yeast in it called LA3, which I think might be a Lallemand yeast, just kind of guessing there. So yeah, Lallemand number 3. Perhaps that's quite a popular Vermont ale yeast strain, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's all you need to know about the beer, so we can get it out and we can get on with it. So yeah, the big donk. Look at that. I don't know. I mean, Gamma Brewing, of course, they like to name their beers after lots of scientific events and things like that. Their beers are named after lots of stuff, and of course, the name Gamma Brewing, you can see in the symbol for this brewery, Gamma, is all about the gamma ray, the radiation, the type of radiation, high energy gamma waves. So, or gamma rays I should say. But yeah, the artwork on this is really, really very nice actually. You always get lovely artwork from Gamma, almost kind of minimalist. But yeah, an 8% New England double IPA, this one. I can't remember how much I paid for this. This must have been about 60 crowns or something like that, because you will obviously pay a little bit more for it because it is a foreign beer. You can usually add about 10 crowns or so onto a beer just for the kind of importer's fee. I don't know who is importing these into Sweden. Systembolaget, I mean, they probably could do it themselves. I don't know if they don't, because you've got these import companies that supply Systembolaget, but I would have thought Systembolaget would be big enough and have the logistics and things to import these beers themselves. But yeah, 440ml can, this one, very nicely presented. So let's get it out and into the glass. Yeah, so yeah, that looks very nice. As you can see, and as you would expect from a hazy New England IPA, whatever you want to call it, this one's poured a lovely, big, thick. This one is definitely one of the more kind of soupy looking New Englands that I've come across in recent times. In terms of its colour, it's kind of halfway between the yellowy and the orange part of the spectrum. It's one of the more kind of richer, darker yellowy colours that you're going to come across. It's starting to get into that orangey quality, or that orangey part of the spectrum, but just not quite making it. If I put my fingers behind the glass, there you can see just how thick the haze of this one is. And I mean, at 8% you're going to have a hell of a lot of oats in there and wheat and things, and that's what's really going to make this beer all the more hazy. But one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head. The head, incidentally, was about 2/3 of a finger, and I would say it's a frothy, perfect white head, not even kind of creamy in colour. I would say it's a perfect white head on this one. But yeah, looks very, very nice. Pretty much what you would expect from a New England hazy double IPA, to be honest with you. Nothing overly surprising about this beer. in terms of its appearance when you consider what style it is. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Really curious about this. Oh yeah, right. This is interesting because I think I said this about the last Gamma beer that I had as well. This one, when you take the aroma in, it really has a bit of that kind of farmhousey quality to it, which is interesting. I'm sure a few people commented on the Freak Wave and the Chelate actually when I reviewed those. And this one, when you first take the aroma in, you really get that kind of woody, kveiky is the other one you can kind of describe it as. You get that woody, herbally, vegetally kind of thing out of the aroma in this beer. You can really just detect that forming the linchpin of the beer, which is quite interesting. And I have to be honest, I mean, I think I was talking about this in a Kveik review that I did recently. It might be in the Kveik that Brewski did, come to think of it. What does the Fox say, if I remember correctly? The aroma of some of these beers that you get, some of the kind of farmhouse ales, it's not the most inviting. It reminds me of like the when you've got your food recycle bag and you've got vegetables in it that are starting to kind of decompose. It reminds me a little bit of the smell of that. And to a degree, with some of these farmhousey yeasts in the beers, you do have that. You do have that a little bit with these, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, you get a little bit of that woody, herbally, vegetally base to the beer, which is very interesting. I mean, it's kind of an unusual thing, but on top of that, you start to get the stronger kind of wheaty notes out of this one. You can get those towards the back of the nose. There is a little bit of a bite or an astringency to this one. You can definitely pick out some of the smoother kind of creamy oats towards the front of the nose in my mind. I'm not getting much in the way of biscuit out of this one. I think it is the sort of farmhousey qualities I was talking about, the wheat, and also a bit of the yeah. You've also got a bit of the as I say, you've got a little bit of that kind of oaty creaminess in there, which is nice. Yeah, malt base of that is pretty nice, and the way that the yeast, the kind of farmhousey notes of the yeast interact with it, is pretty interesting as well. But yeah, you will notice that woody, herbally, vegetally, farmhousey type thing. But when it's a Lallemand yeast, remember the likes of the Alchemist Brewery up in Vermont, they are more farmhousey type New England IPAs, which was not what I expected from them. The heady topper and things. But yeah, the aroma, that is pretty nice. On the hoppy side of things then, there's a good bit of a kind of spicy floral aromaticity. You would expect that when there's Columbus involved. It's got that very distinctive kind of spicy note to it. There is a little bit of lighter grassiness, but really the green side of the hops for me lean towards that kind of big spicy floral aromaticity. You can pick up a little bit of earthiness from the Mosaic, I think, which that'll probably come out in the back corners of the palate. You do get a little bit of it in the aroma, but in terms of the aroma of this beer, the cashmere, I think, in terms of the fruity side of things, I think the cashmere is dominating, because you can really smell, for me, there's a lot of the lemony notes. You can get that really almost sharp lemon-limey quality out of this one. And underneath you can get a little bit of the melon that you would expect from the cashmere as well. And you can pick up, there are elements, you really can pick up some of the juicy orangey elements from the Mosaic as well. You'll notice those just almost right in the middle of the nose. Once you smell it, take it in, you just get this kind of sweet thing out of it too, which is interesting. So you can really detect some of the juicy orangey notes, but the sharpness towards the front of the nose, you do get that kind of lemon-limey sharpness out of this one, which is very interesting. So yeah, take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of this one. In terms of its aroma, it really does smell kind of farmhousey and quite citrusy, this one, to be honest with you. It's really leaning towards the citrusy end of the spectrum for me, which will be quite interesting. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. This one is the Big Doink, a New England double IPA from Gamma Brewing Company, part of Ölkollektivet in Gorløse to the northwest of Copenhagen over in Denmark. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål. Oh yeah, that's really nice. I mean, the Chelate and the Freak Wave were both really nice. Before that, I think, did I have another IPA between those, or was it the Feigned Fervour, the big imperial stout that I had? You know, These guys, Gamma, are ridiculous. They really are. In terms of this New England hazy style, these guys are ridiculous. They really, really know what they're doing. And I mean, Chelate and Freak Wave were good, but I think this one's on a. I think this is on a different level actually. And it's not just because it's 8% and I'm Scottish, so you can make all those jokes as you like. But yeah, it's got a lovely. This beer I think could well be the best IPA that I've had from Gamma. I would think this really is a damn good New England double. So massive thumbs up to Gamma Brewing for this one. It really just hits the spot, and I mean, the thing that surprises me about this is the way it can smell so kind of farmhousey, but then in terms of the flavour, it really is very, very smooth. It finds itself somewhere between the Trillium wheaty bitiness and the Treehouse sort of smoothness actually. This beer smooths out and it's got a lovely, it really has a lovely malt base to it, but when it's got carapils and things in it, I think that really suits it. Carapils is a lovely malt to have in the New England malt base, and I've noticed that more and more breweries are putting these Pilsner malts in their malt base to kind of crispen the beers up a little bit and smooth out some of the creaminess, which is nice, and it gives you a little bit more drinkability of course. But yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one for you guys watching then. So straight away, you can feel that nice white bready wheaty quality, that blankets the middle of your palate. As you go further into the aftertaste, you can feel it sort of thicken up towards the back of the palate, and you'll get the stronger, more bitey notes coming out at the back of the palate. It's almost got, there is a wee bit of a citrusy, a stringency to it almost at the back of the palate too, and you can feel a little bit of that kind of Pilsner malty crispness in the centre of the palate as well. But as you move further forward on the tongue, you can definitely feel there is a bit of a lighter quality to the centre of the palate, and then as you reach the kind of front part of the palate, it's almost when you've got 1/3 of the front of the tongue, that's the fruity side of things, then you've got the final 2/3 is the more malty, yeasty side of it. But on the sort of middle third of the tongue, that's where you get the kind of oaty creaminess coming out, and then in the very centre of the palate you can feel the lighter notes of that, and then you've got the sort of big oily McVitie's digestive biscuit type qualities. This one almost gives you the impression, it does give you the impression of a little bit of caramel, and that's what you're going to get when there's carapils in this one, which is nice. I would have thought that if I was blind tasting it, I would have guessed that there was maybe a little bit of Golden Promise or something in there as well, but then again it doesn't quite have the kind of almost toffee-ish, thick kind of toffee, fudgy quality that Golden Promise can give you. It really is more distinct and biscuity, this one. But yeah, in the very centre of your palate you will get a wee teeny hint of caramel, but then you can feel it's more biscuity and McVitie's digestive like as you move out from the centre of the palate, and then of course you've got the kind of pale malty thing, or a very light wheaty quality underneath that. The bigger wheaty notes are at the back of the tongue, as I said, then the more oaty creamy notes are towards the front of the palate, towards the front kind of third of the tongue as well. So yeah, the flavour of the malt base in this one is really nice, and it's got a good level of drinkability. It's stupidly drinkable for an 8% beer. It really is very, very nice. Yeah, that's a really good beer. That could well be the best IPA that I've had from Gamma so far. Actually, they do have a West Coast IPA, and I forget what it's called. I think it's Hop Sweat. I think I reviewed that back in the day, but something happened to the video and I lost it. So I really need to review. I think it might have been on my old Toshiba computer that I had that died. So I need to get a can of Hop Sweat, or a bottle of Hop Sweat, and review that for you. That's something I really want to do with Gamma Brewing, but I've just never seen Hop Sweat again. So if somebody has a tip on where I can get Hop Sweat so I can review a West Coast IPA from these guys for you, do let me know. But yeah, this I think is the best New England hazy IPA I've had from them so far. At least it just hits the spot for me. Remember, beer is always subjective. Different people enjoy different things. But in terms of the hoppy side of this beer then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness there, and that'll be the mosaic coming out. As you move further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness just smoothens out. You get some nice kind of spicy floral aromatic notes out of the beer, and that is the Columbus coming out. I think the Columbus has been used as a bittering hop in this. But you know, it's not overly strong. I mean, the hoppy bitterness in this beer is not overly strong, but then again, remember that it is a New England IPA, it's not a West Coast IPA. You expect about 30, maybe 40 or 50 IBUs if it's stronger in the New England IPA. It's not 80 or whatever that you would get from the West Coast. But yeah, as you come further forward, nice little bit of spicy floral aromatic notes there, but not too spicy, and round the front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy. Then behind the front curve of the palate, you've got that lovely oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So yeah, fruity side of this beer again is really very nice. So where to start with this one? Yeah, I love how this goes together. This is the fruitiness in this beer really is quite oily. So if you go towards the back, the interesting thing with this is the mosaic and the cashmere are really playing a very interesting role. So if you go towards the back of that oily, fruity part of the beer, it really is the orange. It's quite interesting because there's just a sort of it's quite melony towards the back of the of that fruity part of your palate, but then as you come further forward along the tongue, the melons kind of sit there and they're forming the linchpin of the fruity side of the beer, but then as you reach the kind of front part of the palate, it starts to get a little bit more kind of tangerine and orangey, so the mosaic-y qualities come out of this one a little bit more. I think the cashmere dominates the flavour, but then lemon and lime I think is a more kind of pungent flavour than straight up than sort of tangerine orange is. But yeah, the lemon limey notes, I think they come out just on the very kind of edge of the tongue. You get the lime a little bit further into the aftertaste when the beer starts to juicen up a little bit, but you can really get the lemon just behind the kind of grassy components of the flavour there. But then yeah, so limey notes a bit later, lime just behind the grassy part on the edge of your tongue, juicy kind of tangerine oranges. Then as you move further back, you start to get the lemons. You can feel the sort of tangerine flavours and the melony flavours just kind of merging into each other a little bit. You can feel those kind of encroaching on each other, but I think the cashmere really does dominate the flavour of this one a little bit. But you can detect those lovely orangey flavours from the gamma, from the mosaic rather, not gamma. Gamma's the brewery. But yeah, on the very tip of the tongue, you can just get a little hint of an almost blueberry flavour, which is one of the very kind of small subtleties of mosaic. If you go to the very tip of your tongue, there is just a wee teeny hint of blueberry, which is a characteristic of mosaic. But yeah, it's lovely how that goes together. I really like how this beer does its thing. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would describe this beer as pretty, it's at the top end of mid-bodied, pushing into the bottom end of full-bodied in my opinion. The carbonation is very, very smooth. You've got a big kind of creamy presence to this one, but at the same time the beer retains a little bit of that kind of drinkability and crispness, which is good. So it's a very, very smooth beer. It's got an element of oiliness to it, which helps the more citrusy aspects of the cashmere in this one. The oranges, like I say, the mosaic's a little bit more oily, but I find the kind of cashmere notes on this one, they're just a little bit, you feel just a little bit drier. You do get a wee bit of that dryness out of the fruits in that, but or a bit more pungency, that kind of citrusy thing, which is great. I really like that. It just gives you that little bit of zestiness on the beer. So that's a good way to describe this beer, a bit zesty on the front of the palate. But yeah, you've got a lovely big oily character to this one. The malt base is really lovely, pardon me, and smooth. You've got a good bit of sweetness to it as well. So yeah, quite a smooth but still quite drinkable and slightly oily New England IPA. That's a good way to describe this one. In terms of the hoppy bitterness, I think we're talking, this one must be about 40, maybe 50 at most in terms of its IBUs. I think it's a little bit higher than 30. It doesn't seem like that when you take it in, but when you go into the aftertaste, you do get a little bit of that out of the Columbus. The Columbus gives you a little bit of that kind of spicy kind of quality to it, which is nice. So yeah, really nice, slightly spicy note to this one. It really juicens up and sweetens up very fast, this beer though. Like I say, the middle of the palate, very, very smooth, little bit of sweet quality, a little bit of creaminess in there as well from the oats, and the further you go into the aftertaste, you'll feel the malt base just sweeten up and lean towards that more biscuity, kind of caramelly thing. Lovely big oily fruity notes, a little bit of zestiness in there as well on the very tip of the tongue, oily oranges, and as I say, you've got maybe about a 40 or 50 IBU kind of 40 or 50 IBU hoppy bitterness on this one. So yeah, this is just a lovely, lovely New England double IPA on this one. I take my hat off to Gamma Brewing. It's cool when you get a brewery that you know are very, very capable, and they still manage to surprise you and produce a very, very nice beer like this. I'm not surprised that they've produced a very nice beer, but this is one that's just really kind of hit the spot for me. It's more of a citrusy IPA, this one, but I like the way the sort of lemon limes and the melons have mixed in with the orange in this. It's definitely more, if you like lemon limey flavours and things, this is definitely the beer to go for, to be honest with you. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. The Big Doink from Gamma Brewing Company. I think this is a very, very nice New England IPA. They've done a great job with this, so big thumbs up to Gamma for this one, and if you can get a hold of this one, I highly recommend that you try it. This is, I think, could well be the best IPA that I've tried from them so far. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Gamma Brewing Company as well. We will return to these guys, I'm sure, within the next month or so. I don't know when I'll next make it to Copenhagen, but you will see more Gamma beer reviews whenever I get over there. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Gamma Brewing Company. If you are watching in Denmark, do keep me updated on any new breweries that you think I should check out, because it is difficult to keep up to date with exactly what's going on these days. But yeah, I always enjoy a little trip to Copenhagen, and I like reviewing the kind of Danish beers as well, so do let me know what ones I should be keeping an eye on. Thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Make sure you check out this beer, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Big Doink, an 8% New England double IPA from Gamma Brewing Company in Gørløse at Ulkaleaktivet, just outside of Copenhagen on Sjælland in Denmark. Slanja, skål, cheers. Make sure you check out this beer. Probably my favourite Gamma Brewing beer so far. Cheers.